Good morning. I am Poonam Gulalia, and in this video we are going to be discussing what is fieldwork and its importance in social work education. To begin with, it is important for us to understand that fieldwork is an integral component of the social work education program. The field and fieldwork is also known by many other names. In some places, in some colleges and in some schools of social work, it is called field practicum. Some synonyms are field internship, fieldwork opportunities, and it includes concurrent fieldwork, block fieldwork, rural practicum, and in some colleges also study tours are included. When we wish to discuss fieldwork, it is important to understand that it is the pulse of the profession. It is also called the backbone of social work education, and no social work education is complete without fieldwork. The objectives with which this video has been planned and is being discussed is keeping all these factors in mind. Also, because we need to understand the objectives of fieldwork. What are the learning objectives of working with people in the field? Working with people in the field includes working with individuals, working with groups, working in communities, working with organizations as well. So when we talk of fieldwork and students' engagement in the field, we need to understand that the field includes several sectors. There are many issues and concerns which we will be confronted with, which we will be faced with as student social workers when we work in the field. We also need to understand that we will be working with groups or communities in different settings when we are placed for field work through our colleges. So fieldwork placement opportunities become very essential for our learning. Working in the field also requires an understanding of our own selves, which is called understanding the self, an important component for working. Keeping this in mind, we need to understand that the fieldwork objectives is designed based on the fieldwork curriculum. And the fieldwork curriculum is like any other curriculum of academics. It includes the learning objectives of working in the field, of understanding the field, also of understanding and learning the skills which are required of being an effective practitioner. I hope I am being clear and you are with me in understanding the basics, the very basis with which this video is being planned, designed and executed now. In the same vein, one needs to appreciate that fieldwork component is constructed with the student learner as the central focus of fieldwork education. It is student centric, it is learner centric, but it is also necessary to keep in mind that it is community centric, because we are going to be working with organizations, whether they are government organizations, government departments, non-government organizations, or field action projects of different schools, with people in the field, with communities. So keeping this in mind, that when we are working with people, what does it entail? What does it entail in terms of our own understanding of who people are, why they need our help, why do we need to reach out to them, what we understand by the term marginalization or vulnerability, or what do we understand by the term helping, caring, reaching out, and also keeping in mind the principles which are taught to us in the theory class. Are we able to implement, execute, transact make use of those principles of the social work profession when working in the field. So the central themes in designing the fieldwork curriculum include valuing diversity, keeping in mind that we have diverse population segments, diversity in terms of language, in terms of class, in terms of caste issues, in terms of language, and we also need to keep in mind that our role as a social worker becomes essential in building bridges among people, between sectors, and also involving ourselves as co-workers, as peers in the learning process. Role models in this juncture become very essential to understand in terms of the supervisors and the facilitators who are made available to us for our own professional growth. As I mentioned a little while ago, in introducing field and fieldwork component as part of social work education, we need to appreciate and accept that we are co-constructing fieldwork opportunities which are made available to us through our colleges and our schools as an integral component of the program. The student and the supervisor are co-creating. The student and the people who are there in the organizations, some of them are paraprofessionals, some of them are professionals, some of them are community leaders. There are many different stakeholders who are going to appear in the field in different ways at different points in time for us to work towards co-constructing our learning. So besides adding, the knowledge component which we learn through the practice experience that we gain in the field, as I mentioned, we are also getting an opportunity to test our attitudes, our biases, our perceptions, our own baggage, and other spaces where we have obtained socialization. What have they taught us? So all that gets tested because it's a learning by doing program. So fieldwork provides us an opportunity to appreciate multiple perspectives from different spaces through different stakeholders who we interact with in the fieldwork opportunity which is going to be provided to us. I hope that this is going to be an attempt for each one of you as a student social worker to challenge yourself, to learn from the opportunities which are going to be made available to you, to come up to the professional standards which the profession has set out for itself, and to emerge subsequently as thorough professionals who will do themselves proud to the colleges and to the country. Having said this, we then move on to other essential aspects which we would need to consider when we are working in the field, when we are engaging with the field, when we are learning from the field, and when we are also contributing to the field. So there are 4 different aspects which need to be addressed here. It's not merely that we are treating the field as a laboratory, so to say. We are also attempting through fieldwork, through working with organizations, through working with communities, through engaging with people in the communities, including the key informants or the community leaders or the other resource people who will be made available for our learning, to contribute to the work as we go along. When we work with organizations, as I just mentioned, it is also possible that organizations will give you a mandate of the work that you will be required to do as part of your fieldwork journey. It is going to be a planned process of learning and engaging. You would be required in one way or the other to be part of the organizational setup which will enable you and help you to enhance your learning. There will be many people in the organization, as I mentioned. There could be a range of people. It depends on the structure and the functioning of the organization as to how your learning tasks are designed and how you will then deliver in the process. All these aspects will be enabled by what I said is a facilitator, a mentor, whom we call the supervisor, and there will be other processes which will be explained to you subsequently to allow you facilitate your fieldwork journey. A couple of things I think we should discuss in the initial video itself in terms of the expectations from you as a student social worker, in terms of the fact that your fieldwork journey will require you to write up something called a process recording, which needs to be a regular inbuilt feature of the fieldwork program. It will also require that you meet regularly with your supervisor who will be allocated to you in something that is called a supervisory conference or a supervisory meeting, which are regularly held once a week or once a fortnight and are planned in such a way that it is an individualized, customized program for you to engage in a confidential space where you can share your learning, where you can discuss your fieldwork experiences, where you can get feedback from the supervisor based on his or her experience and engagement with the organization. In due course and in the course of the journey, it's necessary to understand that it will enable you to develop as a professional in the making, and we are hopeful that this journey will make you into a more mature, confident and comfortable in one's own space as a professional social worker. It's necessary also to add here that each one of us has grown and learnt through similar processes, and there is no substitute for fieldwork. There is no substitute for hard work, and there is no substitute for being passionate and committed to the profession in the course of one's fieldwork journey. I hope that all of you are conscious of what you have committed yourself to when signing up for social work as a profession, because it entails that fieldwork becomes the strength and continues to remain the strength and the backbone of the profession. It also means then that we reflect and look back weekly, monthly, regularly at how fieldwork is going and how are we ourselves developing personally and professionally and in the process. So the term the self becomes very essential in the initial and the regular fieldwork journey. The use of self, there will be many articles and journals which talk about the conscious use of self, and over the decades it has become a very prominent aspect of making it an integral part of the fieldwork discussion space as well. So the use of self, if we may now come to as one of the essential components of the fieldwork program, is to say that it is used as a tool which can be studied from various perspectives. So our own personality, our own belief system, our own value system, the anxieties which we may knowingly or unknowingly be carrying, the use of self-disclosure, the acceptance of our own backgrounds and privileges, all these become very essential aspects in understanding the self. Some of us as professionals like to discuss the use of self in due course of time, but my experience has taught me that it's essential to put this upfront as one of the basic and essential criteria which needs to be flagged at the outset of one's fieldwork journey. The use of self also becomes a space for both students and supervisors to engage and interact with in their weekly conferences, in their weekly supervisory conferences. These conferences, as I just mentioned, are spaces where a rapport is built between a student and his or her supervisor. If we are talking of the use of self for the student social worker, it becomes essential then that we also talk of the use of self for the supervisor as a mentor. So, we as facilitators, as supervisors or as mentors, whatever we would like to call ourselves in terms of enabling you as student social workers to grow as professionals, we also need to be mindful again of our own personality, of our own belief systems, of our value systems, of our own socialization, of the biases that we might be carrying, of our own perspectives, our ways of looking at the world, our own anxieties, if and when they may emerge in terms of facilitating a student learner, in terms of playing the role of a supervisor, in terms of role modeling. All these and the entire package becomes very essential in building an effective rapport, in relationship building with the student, in our work in the field, as I mentioned, as role models, and also in the way we engage with the organizations where our students are placed for fieldwork. Yes, sometimes this seems a lot to handle, but because it is a very structured program, it is a very formal process which is followed. There are many ways of keeping in mind the fieldwork journey. It is customized to the student. It has been so for several decades, and we have reviewed it over time in different spaces and through different fora. It becomes possible for us and you to play this role effectively, and we are quite hopeful that you will emerge mature, strong and confident professionals towards the close of this journey. Some questions do remain which will get answered by and by. Some questions are there which I think I would like to raise here for you to think about, reflect on, mull over, or keep in mind and discuss among yourselves when possible, so that more and more collaborative learning spaces are created for fieldwork. So, fieldwork, it means, needs not only to be seen as going and being at a particular organization and counting that as only part of fieldwork journey, but other formal and informal spaces which are opened up to us in the course of this journey need to be integrated for our fieldwork learning. What does this imply? This implies, as I just mentioned, one is our rapport and our relationship with our supervisor. One is our rapport and relationship with our co-workers, our peers, those who are placed with us probably in the same organization, or those students of our batch who are placed in different organizations but are also our peers in the fieldwork learning journey. Who else then could be our learners, or what else could be our spaces for learning, and who else could be stakeholders in our learning journey? If you think carefully and with your own experience, you will learn that the other stakeholders in this learning journey, as I mentioned a while ago, are the paraprofessionals in the field, the people we engage with, the skilled the visiting professionals who would visit the organizations and maybe conducting some sessions. You could probably be networking with other organizations in the field and learn from them. So there is a range of stakeholders in the field, and only your own journey, as it unpacks and as it opens up, as it reveals itself, it is only then that you will realize that what is the practical component of what we are discussing now. Ultimately, it is up to you as a student learner to utilize the opportunities available to you for your fieldwork journey, to utilize the opportunities available to you to unpack what you might have already learnt. It is possible that some of us might need to unlearn some of the things and relearn some of the things which are required for our professional growth. I think it's important to add here that the personal and professional growth of each student social worker goes hand in hand, and it's for us, with the support system that is provided to us in different ways in the fieldwork program, to see how best we can use this opportunity, this journey, this space which is provided in the curriculum, to make it comfortable for us, but also to accept that there might be need and space to step out of our comfort zones, to learn anew, to revisit the field in a different way maybe, to understand the field with its multifaceted spaces differently, to relate the theoretical component which we have learnt in the classroom, maybe through the different courses, to what the practice component is, to relate the practical findings or the practice knowledge that we gain in the field again back to the theory which is being taught to us in the classroom, and to see and test what works, what doesn't work, what could work, and how best we can grow and become thorough professionals. One aspect which could become very important in laying this foundation discussion which we are having on fieldwork today is to emphasize and flag the importance of collaboration and networking in the field. Collaboration again could be with various stakeholders, with various people. It could be with your peers, it could be with your co-workers, it could be with the professionals, it could be with the people in the field, the staff and the agency personnel who are available to us as field contacts or enabling us in the fieldwork journey. It could also be that we are networking with other organizations in the field. Sometimes organizations have a designated space, for example, say for fundraising. So you all get involved as one of the learning tasks in fieldwork in the fundraising program of organizations. So they might be setting up a stall, or they might be having a newspaper drive, or they might use other ways of raising funds and might seek your help as a student social worker, maybe to use the social media platform or to do crowdfunding. So there are many ways in which networking becomes very essential component of the first year fieldwork program. We could be networking with the people, with organizations, with groups. Sometimes in an institutional setting, the atmosphere and the way fieldwork is conducted is very different from the way it is in community setting. So there are many spaces where we learn from each other. There are spaces where student review meetings or student seminars are conducted, where students present their fieldwork experiences, their learnings, their observations in the field. They reflect on these in the seminars and peer learning happens in student seminars as well. So, when we speak then of collaboration or networking, we need to widen our canvas and not think only in terms of being in the field and off the field. The field has many dimensions, it has many spaces, it has many ramifications, and it can be interpreted in many ways for us to learn from, to be excited about, and to be passionate about in having committed to a profession which is of such standing. I have mentioned about collaboration and network, so I will just be brief in saying that when we engage in collaboration and networking, there are skills even there which we require to learn and practice, but more details about the skill component will come in the videos by and by, because many aspects of fieldwork require us that to learn skills, to practice skills, and to reflect on whether we have been skilled enough to be a professional. So, this space sometimes can be very tricky, that we might think we are very sensitive, we have very good observation skills, we have very good networking skills, we are very proud and confident that we can go ahead and conduct programs in the community independently in terms of planning, but these have to be tried and tested, proven and proved, and if we may say, have to be authenticated by our supervisors and our facilitators. They have to be evaluated and graded as well in due course of time. So, these aspects we will discuss in little more detail subsequently, but yes, we need to appreciate that we are in good hands, that we have signed up for something substantial, that we hope that we are committed to taking it to the finishing line, and we will make our best foot forward, we will put our best foot forward, we will use the best of ourselves to do justice to what we have signed up for, with the intention of making it a better world. Having said that, I would like to close this video and we will meet again subsequently. I hope that this has been a useful exercise for you and you will reflect and dwell on the aspects which have been covered here, and we can move step by step in this journey. We wish you all the best, and we do hope that it will be as fruitful for you as it is for us. Thank you so much.